This is a video that will show how to reload a head end or a controller. First, you're going to want to log on. Go to Continuum Explorer. You want to make sure that your All Paths is checked off. It might look like this right away. So you want to click your plus button in front of your root, your plus button in front of your folder here. It could say Schneider.net, it could say Andover.net, it could say TAC.net. Then you're going to open up your BCX1 or your CX1. This right here is your head end. This is the brain of the system. It's the parent controller. So you're going to want to open this and check to see if it's online. If it is online, then we can start reloading controllers or reloading the head end. If it is offline, then you will not be able to do this. If it is offline, you can either cycle power to the head end physically at the controller and then come back here and check to see if it came back online. Refresh it a couple times, maybe it'll come back up. If it doesn't, then it's likely that you would need to get a tech out. So if your head end is online, you want to check your options up here. And what we're doing when we reload a controller is called a send to controller. This is the database, your computer, sending all of its data to the controller. You would do this when the controller maybe gets a little power blip or something where it would lose any of its memory or lose the ability to communicate its memory to the database. So your send to controller options, you want to have the middle one checked. Reload attached objects but not attached controllers. You never want to do a send to database. So if we're reloading our head end, for example, if on our graphics all of our points were coming up with question marks, or a code that says failure due to device, or a code called the 5121, that's when you would do the reload on the head end. So we're going to right click, go down to send to, and send to controller. You never want to click database. So we'll click send to controller. You click OK. I'm not going to click OK just for this example here. I'm just going to close out. But you would click OK. It might ask you again, are you sure? You just click yes. And then you can come down here and click on this little Continuum Properties dialog. You'll see that your downloading or your send to or your reload is starting. You'll see it go through. It's going to give you a little status update, and then when it's done, it'll say finished. If there's any errors, they will show themselves in between the starting and finished line. If for whatever reason a controller is not coming back with a reload, it will tell you here. If it can't reload certain points, it will tell you. So you can either save it or clear it. I like to save it just so we can go back to it. So you just close out of it. If you have your head end online, and if you're only getting data from, say, one room that's giving you trouble, not all of your rooms, you can do the same process to one specific room. So again, we click open, we see that it's online. If it's offline, you would want to do the send to from the head end. So you can have controllers offline and still do this process, but if your head end is offline, then you won't be able to do this. So if your head end, if your controller is offline, you would do the send to from the head end. If your controller is online, again, same process. Send to controller, click OK, watch it down here in your Properties tab. Same thing, it'll distribute, it'll show what the status is, give you the progress bar, and it'll tell you when it's finished. Sometimes you do have to do it more than once if it doesn't come back, but I would say after doing this about 3 times, if it doesn't come back, then there's other issues. So the main thing to take away from this is never, ever, ever do a send to database. What a send to database is it's telling the controller to send all of its information to the computer, to the database. If the controller is having problems communicating and you do this, you could essentially wipe out everything and then be left with no data at all. So that's why we do it from the computer to the controller, because we can see that we have all of our information here. So always do the send to controller, never do the send to database.